It is a terrible thing when brother takes up arms against brother. The lands in the south run red with the blood of kings and their kin, whilst to the north the winds carry the bitter chill of war. Winter is coming, say the Starks, but they say nothing of the tempest that already dwells within their lands, a storm centuries in the making. Summer will end soon enough, and childhood as well. A sister lost, a brother returned, a family changed. In a time of turmoil, can they trust their allies? Can they trust their family? The North remembers, and the children of House Braddock cannot forget.
I spent 5 hours in Hiroshima.
Hello, and we are live. Welcome in, everybody. We're just talking about, stuff and things backstage. But how is everyone doing today? It is a cold Monday where I am. It's the perfect setting for some Game of Thrones set in the cold, frigid north. So we'll go around, we'll say who we are, who we play, and have a little chat. Hi, Johnny. How you doing? How's it going?
I'm well, friend. And how are you on this chilly Monday?
I am good. I'm cold, but good.
I feel you. I thought the same thing today. It's finally starting to get cold here in Pittsburgh, and I was like, I'm pretty excited to put on this cloak and just get real immersed in my own apartment because I'm rather cold, and we're naturally just cold all the time. I'm Johnny Blam. I play Brynden Braddock, the moody, broody bow boy twin of the Braddock family. Really, really excited for this episode. There's only 2 episodes left, so I'm jittery almost. I'm anxious in a good way. I've been thinking over the weekend. I was just hanging out, and I was I'm very intrigued and nervous in a good way to see where things go. Last episode, I ventured off into the woods by myself to hopefully go on some wonky Northerner Vision quest. So that's where my character is at this moment. I'm really stoked.
Well, we'll see what lies in store for Brynden, because I feel like there's some juice here to be had. To borrow a phrase from our other Game of Thrones campaign, there's some juicy fucking fruits. We're in it. Speaking of someone who's in it and maybe does not even know, Shauna, hello, friend.
Hey, I do know. I am aware of this. Could be very. I have been thinking about it all week. Yeah, Riona's in a situation. It might be good, but it could always be complicated and also not good. Yeah, I'm Shauna, playing Cirrus, and yeah, I'm playing Riona, the youngest of the Braddock children, and the twin to Brynden, and who is on her way to get betrothed. We'll see. Things have been sweet so far.
Yeah.
Penultimate episodes of Game of Thrones are not the way they are.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be great. Riona is gonna live happily ever after. Just only good stuff. We'll see how it goes. But Riona's older brother. Hello, Bill. How's it going?
It's going well. Excited to see all this stuff. I just saw in chat, will Brynden survive? So that was Prax, which makes me even more worried because plots and schemes. What's going on? I want to know. And there's one way to find out. Sit tight. Watch the next couple hours of intense intrigue and fun. And if you want to follow some, if you got Twitter open and it's there and it's easy for you to do, Bill of the Forest. If not, cool, because I don't care about that shit anyways. Yeah, I don't know. I'm super excited. This story that we're weaving is super, super cool. And there's a lot left unknown, and we just got to sit here and take it. So that's it. That's it.
Hey, you are all masters of your own fates. Everything that has happened has pretty much entirely predicated your own decisions, and before and during play. So we'll see what happens. Prax, how are you doing today?
I'm doing okay. It's a day. It's a Monday. Welcome back, everyone. I've been looking forward to this. I have been considering things and thinking through things, and everything will be fine. That is my goal, or at least as fine as Lyneth will let it be. You know, if there are other people who end up dead, it's not her fault.
Yeah. No, she's never done anything wrong in her life, and anything that happens is not her fault.
She is an angel. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yes. Okay. Wink. And Trooper is just about to arrive. Talk about that for timing. Here he is. Just gonna sit here and awkwardly wait for Troop. Hi, Troop. How's it going?
Hey, how are you all?
You arrived just in time to get to your introduction. So how are things?
Oh, hi. Well, they're going well. I just got out of class, and then students needed to talk to me because their rough drafts for their final paper were due, and there was some panic, and sometimes that happens. But I am doing well, and I'm Trooper SJP, and I am playing Maester Nymor, who is the Maester. Also, perhaps a little comatose on accident, not on purpose. And that's me, and I'm excited to be here. And I'm like, wow. That's it.
Hell yes! I want to give a special shout out to Trooper because after last week's session in the Discord, Trooper posted like a really cool series of posts, which got me right in the kokoro, right in the feels, as they were Nymor's thoughts after the horrible dream that I put him through last week.
So good.
So if you haven't checked that out, please do already because it was wonderful. It was a wonderful bit of posting, and as a GM, that gave me the happy feels. So yes, I am the gem. I am Susie. I will be leading these fine friends through this story that we're telling today, and doing terrible things to them, and watching as my hair just does crazy shit. But anyway, that's enough about us. Let's get on with the game. Okay, so an opening shot. It is outside the village of Winterfell. It is heavily snowing. There is a cold mist that is obscuring vision. It's like Silent Hill, but cold out here. You can't, the vision isn't too clear. But it focuses on a figure moving quietly through the snow. You can't quite tell what they're wearing, but they appear to be bundled up, but not bulkily. They are warm, but in gear that allows them to maneuver. Brollan, you have been left inside the cottage that you have been renting out, as it were, on the behest of the Lord Stark. Lyneth and Riona have ridden ahead to Winterfell proper, escorted by Manderley house guards to prepare for the betrothal ceremony that is due to happen today with Riona and Roland in front of the weirwood tree. But they had to go and leave you behind as they didn't bring enough horses. So they're going to come back after they've taken the ladies. So you are alone in this small cottage. Is there anything in particular that you would be doing at this point in time?
Definitely not trying to get creative physically because the Maester told him that he would die. So,
Yes.
So I think now is when he's alone with his thoughts, his actions. You know, he hasn't really pulled things like this before. So his actions now, like this, he'd kind of start to second guess himself and try to talk himself out of second guessing himself. And like, no, it's a solid thing. And no, wait, why didn't he do that? And then he'd start to get kind of paranoid a little bit. And then he'd try to talk himself, like walk around the room, taking deep breaths and like calming himself down. And then just, you know, trying to master his own mind.
Okay. So while you are doing so, I would like to know what your passive awareness skill is, please.
Oh, man, if it's anything like my fighting, it is really high. Okay. This character sheet info. Passive awareness. I can do alphabet. 12.
12. Okay. All right. Just give me 1 sec. I will need to make a check for no reason.
No reason. Nope, no reason at all. Just
no reason.
testing out gravity with these dice.
Yeah. So give me 1 sec. No, hang on. Yeah. That's a 21 with 3 6s. All right. So as you are sort of, mentally, chatting to yourself in your head, thinking through everything that's been happening. It's been a whirlwind couple of days here. Things have been very tumultuous in between the quiet periods. There's a lot to contemplate. You don't hear the door to the cottage open. You don't feel that cold breeze just briefly hit you before the door closes very quietly. And you are not aware of the man stood behind you until you hear the creak of a floorboard and you hear the whisper of steel leaving a leather scabbard.
Hot. That's as we say in Ohio, that is sexy. Okay, so cool. I'm
gonna give you, like, you hear a creak of a floorboard behind you, and you hear that unmistakable, like, sound of something being unsheathed behind you.
He would dash for his axe. If he didn't hear the steel, then it would be just a person sneaking in, but he would make a mad dash for his axe.
Okay, so I would like you to make me a agility quickness roll.
Okay. That's a 22. I'll take that. But if you multiply it by 2, it's 44. So, practice our math. And
you are just quicker than the assassin, as you hear the creak, you hear the blade, you instinctively dive for your weapon. You grew up raiding, to always be an arm's length from your gear should you ever need it. You always have a weapon around you at all times, I imagine. You've got that innate training, right? Like, you know exactly where shit is if you need it. As your hand hits the axe, it is your turn to move forward as the assassin is right behind you, but you get the drop.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna fuck this dude up. Yeah, let me just let me do a you know what? Second to last episode, I'm gonna do a reckless attack.
Hell yes, let's do it. Let's go.
Okay. Now I have those specific dice. Let's post that in. $28. That's solid.
Woo! Yeah, okay, that's gonna be his combat defense. Yep. So that is gonna be. Hang on one sec. Oh my god, that's gonna be a stupid amount of degrees of success. That's a 20. What do you get? 20?
28.
28? Okay, hang on. So that's gonna be 16, 21, 26. That's gonna be 5 degrees of success.
Well,
Wait,
fuck
does it
it
go up to
up.
5 or is it only 4? No, I think it goes up to 4. So total 4. 4 degrees of success. Sorry, my brain just.
Is for the
I
max
only
you
played
can
this
get?
game on Thursday. Yes.
Good to know.
No. Max you can get is 5 degrees of success. But that was 4 degrees of success. Sorry. Oh my god. I'm a mess today. But yes, 4 degrees of success. So you should do with your axes, I think it's. Let me find it. Because we figured this out the other day.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a. What kind of axe is it again?
It's a Castle Forge pole axe, great axe.
Great axe, pole axe thing. It's your athletics rank plus 3 as the base. So your athletics rank, what is that?
My athletics rank is 4. And my strength, I have 1 in strength.
Okay, so your athletics rank is 4. So plus 3 for your base damage, so that's 7 times 4 on this one dude. As the damage. He is going to take a wound to nullify that, but he is going to be at a dice penalty. As you, describe to me what this attack looks like as you bring it down on this assassin.
So I feel like he would know that it was an assassin being paranoid that something like this might happen. Hearing the cold hiss of a dagger coming out of its sheath, he lunges towards his axe, anticipating the movement of the assassin following him to try to maintain advantage and the jump on the situation. And as he grabs his axe, he keeps his upper body focused on the axe as to not let the assassin know that he's got any active defenses, and he's going to turn his hips and with his hand on the rear end of the metal axe head, he's going to use his other arm as a fulcrum and shove the axe up through the hips and the legs, and then drive through with his left hand, kind of going from the hips into the torso, into the midsection.
Ooh. And you feel that connect of the weapon hitting the body, and you can feel that unmistakable sticky wetness of blood on your fingers as you've made contact and hit so hard, like it caught the edge of the blade and it has cut them quite deeply across that torso. So with that hit, there was a crit, which would have been -2 of the armor rating of the assassin, but he chose to take the wound, which nullified all the damage anyway. But there was a crit in there. We just need to keep our eye out for 6s, because it's an easy thing to forget. But it is the assassin's turn, and using this close proximity, they're going to come at you with, let me see. They're going to aim for one of your vital zones, and then they're going to strike. So this gains an extra bonus dice for them. They have... but they drop one because they have a wound. So it's going to be... Eesh. Nope, that's not how you do that. Whoops. Excuse me.
That is a good amount of dice, though.
It is a fair amount of dice. That's an 18 against your combat defense.
Combat defense is... it depends. I'm assuming since we're in a cabin, I don't have my armor on.
I would assume not. But
Okay,
on
so
the
it
other
would be-
hand, you were going up to Winterfell Keep to do the ceremony. Would you be wearing your armor as like formal attire? Or would you have been wearing a nice doublet?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I'd be wearing armors for like. First off, he also struggles with formal attire. So without without Lyneth there, what he thinks is formal attire is what he thinks is formal attire. So he would have put on his finest armor. Definitely not using that just for this scenario, though.
Yeah.
He's that everybody comes in really nice like suits and dresses, really great embroidery, brocades, and he's there in armor, and you're like, oh.
Is there a war nobody told us about?
But that's why people respond weirdly to Brollan, because sometimes he's got a huge axe and armor, and everyone else is like wearing pants.
I mean, it's his good armor. So does that count as like his dress blues?
Probably, yes.
We can justify this. Okay, so what is your combat defense?
With the armor, it's 8.
Okie doke. All right. So I got an 18. That is 2 degrees of success, which for this guy would be. Let me just double check real quick.
I took a reckless attack also, in all honesty, last turn, remember? So
that's right, which means your armor, your combat defense is -5, right? So that would be 3 degrees of success. As this guy has he's carrying a stiletto, which is his agility rank, but it has...
I feel like this is a little before that time where people are wearing stilettos just out and about.
Well, I mean, but they do have like the red bottoms. It was like the red bottom shoe wedding, I think, or something like that. It was like there's a thing. Susie, do you need to hold the poison rules? I'm just asking because I can just look them up right now if you want me to.
No, this assassin is not a Dornish assassin, therefore it does not have a poisoned blade. But the stiletto, unfortunately for Brollan, has the piercing quality, which means it ignores 2 of his armor rating. So he is going to do a total of 12 damage. Of which you can only ignore 5.
Okay, and I will ignore 5 of it.
There you go.
I'm just doing the quick math, so yeah, got it.
All right. Okie doke. It is now your turn. As the assassin, I think how he does this is because you're in such close proximity to you now. And with recoiling from the blade, uses the pushback of the momentum of your bodies colliding to bring up his arm, and he takes the stiletto through the gap in your armor between your chest piece and your arm armor, and stabs you right in like the armpit vital area right there. So it sucks ass, and you're bleeding quite heavily as this blade has just slipped past that armor into a fleshy zone.
All right. Brollan has had enough with all of this. So hold on a second. Let me cast. So I'm going to come back with shove him away with the axe, kind of drop it and use the momentum, and then take a step forward with my left foot and put all of my weight into an overhand strike. And then I'm going to use the Axe Fighter 2 feat, which I'm going to sacrifice all of my bonus dice for if I hit him, it would just do the normal damage minus the bonus dice, and he would get a bloody wound.
Ooh, okay.
So let me roll them dice, and so okay, that would be. Trying to think of what all my bonus dice are because I made all these macros. It doesn't say how much all the bonus dice are. Okay. Mm. 19.
Ooh, 19. Yeah, that's gonna do it. That was gonna be 6, 11, 16. That's gonna be 3 degrees of success.
Cool. There is a 6 in there as well. If that means anything.
It is double his combat defense, so that is a critical.
And he would take, if that's 3 degrees of success, he would take. We established the damage as my athletics.
Yep. So your base is 7.
3. Okay. 7.
Yeah.
Okay. So that'd be 21 damage plus a bloody wound, and the bloody wound would happen regardless if he chose to take another wound or not. Too.
Okay. So, you bring down this axe in a nasty overhead swing, and the assassin tries to bring up the blade to just try and parry some of the force away, but you just like knock the arm out from away from them as you bring the poleaxe down, and it connects into their shoulder and sinks deep. And the assassin cries out in pain. There's a scream that you hear as you feel that connection as it like lodges in his clavicle. And you do that horrible, like you have to pull it back out of his body in this force. As you can see now, like through his armor, his leather armor that he's wearing, you can just see this big bloody mess of where his shoulder once was before. Like his left side is just completely shattered. You can see like his left arm is hanging low and not be usable. As he, yep, go ahead.
And so
He's still standing, however.
Is he still holding on to the dagger?
Yes, his dagger's in his right hand.
Okay. He's going to like just speak in a moment. This will be over soon. Who sent you?
And you can see like this guy is he has a hood pulled up, but it's kind of falling away now. You can see that he looks like any other ordinary northerner. He's got the pale skin of a northerner. He's got like the dirty brown hair. He's got, you can tell like some scruff from a beard that's grown, but he's got like a big scarf pulled up over his face that is falling away through his pain. But his gear looks pretty decent, and the fact that he's carrying a stiletto and not like a fish gutting knife or just something a commoner would get hold of kind of clues you into that maybe this guy is either someone of note or has on retainer from someone of note. But you hear him say quietly, "Yeah, you're right. This is going to be over soon." As he lunges forward and he's going to attempt to get you, but he does have 3 wounds now, so he is at -3 dice penalty, which is probably not going to be good for him. I am going to use some of my pals over here to even the odds a little bit. So let me think here. We are rolling. We're gonna roll.
The axe has the vicious quality too. Does that?
Oh shit! Let's have a look. Let's see what Vicious does, because he might just be dead. Let's find out. Vicious. Oh, so Vicious means if you defeat a foe when wielding a vicious weapon, the consequences of defeat are always death. So it just means that you can't, if you're attacking someone with the poleaxe, you can't just be like, just fooling, I'm gonna knock you out. It's no,
Gotcha.
you're done. You're dead.
Yeah. Gotcha. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm gonna be rolling for this guy. 8d6, but I will be keeping 3? No, wait. What, 2? Is that 3? Yeah, I'll be keeping 3. Oh my god, that sucks. No, because I used a blue guy, so I'll be keeping 4. That's gonna be a 22 to hit.
That'll do it.
So what is your combat defense again?
It's normally
8.
7 with this because I didn't reckless.
Yeah. Okay. So that's gonna be 13, 18. It's gonna be 3 degrees of success. That is double your combat defense. There's 2 6s in there, so that's a critical. Which means that your armor rating is now dropped by 1 until it is repaired. So to take away 1 from your armor rating. He damages your armor as he comes in, and that's going to be 3 degrees. It's going to be 12 points of damage as he comes at you.
Now, I think we had the Maester come in. We didn't talk about like where he was at after the Maester left. Now, do I still have, how many wounds do I currently have?
Okay, so you were healed up to, so you only had 1 wound.
Okay.
Just a reminder though, you can only take as many, if you take as many wounds as you do endurance ranks, you will die.
Correct.
So if you take 4 wounds, Brollan is dead. Not 4, is it 4 or 3?
3. My endurance is 3.
Okay.
And if I take an injury, it lessens the damage by 3?
Injuries lessen the damage by, yes, your endurance rank, I believe.
And that was 12 damage, so
Yeah.
that's not going to do any good. So let's... Are we at the Destiny Point area now? Are we bartering?
You can so you can take a couple of injuries in a turn. But with a Destiny Point, you could... So with the Destiny Point spent in combat, you can use it to buy a test die to keep for 1 test. You can ignore the effect of a drawback for 1 exchange. You can take a second action during this exchange. You could add a detail to a scene to help you. Or to burn your Destiny Point, which means you can't recover it. It's gone. It's done. You can convert all bonus dice into a test dice for 1 test. You can add 5 to a test result. You can decide the consequences of your own defeat, or you can permanently remove a drawback or gain a benefit, which is not very helpful right now in combat. The only one I would say would be super helpful to you right now would maybe be decide the consequences of your own defeat or something in the scene to help you.
Yeah, well, old boy's gonna have to take this wound. How many injuries can you take in a single swoop?
You can take as many as you like. You just can't take, same thing with wounds. You can't take any more injuries than you have ranks in endurance. But injuries will not kill you if you take 3 of them.
Okay. Yeah, you know what? 3 injuries, that would be 9 absorbed, and it was 12 damage, and that's still not enough. So it's got to be. I'm bartering in wounds. I'm bartering in lifelong damage right now.
Okay.
So, yeah. So how this attack goes through he dents the armor or pierces or breaks the armor in some way, shape, or form with a thrust.
I would say he pierces your armor with a thrust.
Okay. All right, yeah. So then that'll go through something important like intestines or a stomach, or where the stomach and the intestines connect, that little area, and he's gonna take some internal goodness, because story's not over. All right, and yeah, that's what's got to happen.
Okay. So he comes at you and the dagger plunges deep into your stomach and you feel him twist it as he pulls it out, just for that extra, because this guy's a jerk. As he's looking at you and you can see the sweat beading down his face and his skin has grown paler. As you can tell, he's clearly losing a lot of blood. His left side is completely drooping and he just has that blade and he's breathing heavily, glaring at you. It is your turn.
All right. So here's what I'm gonna do. Oh yeah, I'm gonna destroy his face. I'm going to use the axe feat again. Sacrifice the bonus die. No, actually, I'm not. I'm actually going to do a reckless attack to give me more bonus die because now I'm losing 2. Okay. Fighting axe is. Oh, what? How did I misclick that? Open specialties. No. Computer. Do as I obey. Command. Ah, damn it. See, this is how nervous I am, guys. I'm about to die.
Oh man, I wish I could do a good not major, whatever. Mrs. Barrett Roddenberry voice, so I could be a Star Trek computer when you said computer. Damn it.
Okay.
All right, Bill, you can do this.
Reckless. I got it. Oh, I had it. I have it now. 22 with a 6.
22 with a 6. Okay, so there is no way that this guy can come back from this this hit. So I would like you to describe to me, Bill, how you dispatch this assassin.
So he's like wielding his axe, and as the knife gets like ripped out of his armor, and there's like blood pouring out, and he puts his left hand over that wound, and he looks, and he's like, I asked you nicely. I'm trying to be a good lord here. And then he takes one step, and with his left hand over his wound, trying to stop the blood, he uses the weight of his poleaxe, swings it around, and then drops down with his hips like you would like you're swinging a sledgehammer. And with that one-arm strike, just cleave into the same wound that he had established before, slicing in twain this assassin.
Hell yes. And like something out of God of War, you just see this man's body just split, and the sound of the bone breaking and the viscera and the gore is just gross, to put it plainly, as there's just blood pooling as this man just, the second this blade connects, he screams before he quickly loses consciousness, face down on the cottage floor. A pool of blood just oozing out of this body.
He's going to rest on the axe, try to stop the bleeding with some force, and like bunching up the clothes in that area, the cloth that's under the armor, to kind of like stop it, and then look around to see if the maester like left anything like a needle or anything so he could try to mend himself.
Okay.
I'm sure Lyneth has a needle because she was doing embroidering. She's very crafty. I mean that in terms of crafts.
Yeah, so you look for any supplies the maester may have left, and the maester left nothing. So in your panic, your brain is like, fuck, where can I find something? And you remember seeing Lyneth in the carriage to Winterfell working on some embroidery, and you know she brought her equipment with her for that.
So I have to go outside? I have to go outside and get it? Okay.
No, it's, you know it's in her trunk, your belongings that are in this cottage.
Oh, God. Yeah, here's the risk. Do I die, or do I get blood all over Lyneth's stuff?
And then die.
Right, because I know Lyneth and I know Prax, and I love them both dearly. And so I just want to let you know, Prax, that I'm weighing this option right now. So
remember what she told you last night, where the only thing she asked you was not to die before she has this kid?
Okay, well, you like your stuff, so
Just
okay,
don't bleed on it. Like, that's easy. Just don't bleed on it. Don't bleed on her stuff.
Yeah, says the guy who didn't get stabbed where the stomach meets the intestines.
No,
Okay.
I'm just Nico.
Okay, so I'll see if I can remember in the trunk where it was, and then forage around for it and get blood all over her stuff.
So yeah, you open the trunk and you can see that this is like there are some gowns in here and linens that are not quite finished as garments that Lyneth is embroidering or in the process of doing so, and you rifle through them. Luckily, Lyneth is not an absolute maniac and didn't bury her needles at the bottom of the trunk. They are kept, as I can imagine, Lyneth will keep things quite orderly in a place that she's not going to stab herself when she tries to dig them out. So you know, in your panic, you might a little bit move a bit of clothing, but it's not hard to find the needles.
So then, yeah, he's going to take his armor off and attempt to stop the bleeding by sewing into himself. Can I take a wound this way on accident? Because
I'm pretty sure with like a failed medicine treat check, you can inflict wounds. So we'll let me just double check. Because we don't want you to accidentally kill yourself by trying to stitch yourself back together with embroidery thread.
I know what I'm going to do, and if that's a possibility, I'm going to find someone to help me do that in this town. But there's something I would like to do before then.
Okay, hang on. Let's find medicine.
A critically failed healing test doesn't make any injuries or wounds worse.
Hey.
Okay, good. Treat injury.
But hey.
Oh, okay. A patient in your care is never at risk of further injury from a failed healing test. Okay, so you can make, if you like, a healing treat injury test.
Okay. All right. Yeah, y'all ready to laugh?
Let's have a look. 3.
I mean, that's half the maximum it could have been.
Hey, you have a 1 in healing?
1 in healing and 0 in treat injury.
In terms of how they sort skills in this, 1 is like, this is something that should be relatively simple that you are just completely not good at. So, you, Brollan, you think, this should be easy. You just get the skin, you pinch it together, and away you go. But you fail to factor in that shock is beginning to set in. Your hands are not steady. They're covered in blood. Your stomach is oozing blood, and you just can't quite get purchase. And it turns out skin isn't quite as malleable as you thought it would be. It's not like putting 2 bits of fabric together to put a needle through. And the fact that you're breathing and your body is pulsing and beginning to shake through shock, you just can't quite manage to even begin the process properly. Like, you manage to stab the needle through 1 flap, but you just can't quite get that what you need to make decent stitches.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So here's what he's going to do then. He's going to keep the tools with him. He's going to, with the consciousness and things he's got left with shaky hands, like take apart everything that the assassin had on him to see if there was a sign of who he was sent by, or she.
Okay.
And because I mean, in the heat of battle, like that's not there were no cordial exchanges, like a sigil or a note or a letter. But then he's going to remove the garments from the assassin, and then he's going to some casual garments that Brollan has, put those on the assassin. So this is like a whole staging situation.
All right. Okay. So you're trying to make this assassin look like a person, just like a normal average person?
I'm trying to make the assassin, if somebody were to walk into a room that they would see that if they didn't know Brollan was assassinated. So
gotcha. All right.
Exchange their marks of identification with Brollan's marks of identification to someone that doesn't know Brollan very well. Because obviously, if this assassin's lithe and agile, that's not Brollan.
But he probably doesn't have much of a face left. I mean, after what you did to him with the axe, I mean, it's probably identifying him would be difficult.
and that's something he would do too. Is he would mess up the face of the corpse to make it unrecognizable.
Okay. What are you doing after you do that?
Putting on another set of like common clothes. Nothing. Things Brollan would wear around the castle without Lyneth's gaze upon him. So things that he was wearing in the during raiding. He's comfortable in normal clothes. He doesn't need the finery. So he would put that on, bring the tools and his axe. He would wrap in like a blanket, and he would leave his crown on the corpse of the assassin.
Are you heading out into the snow?
I need to go into town to find someone who can stitch my wounds.
All right. So you disguise the body, you put on a different clothing, and you wrap your weapon, and you begin to head out into the frozen snow outside. And it's still this heavy snowstorm where vision is not great. You can't see too far ahead of you. And you're starting to feel the burden of these injuries now. You can feel that cold is setting into you. And you can feel that your body is just so tired as you're trying to force it to move forward. And your vision is blurring as you're focusing and trying to just stay conscious, stay moving. Because you know that in weather like this, you got to stay awake. You got to stay moving. Otherwise, you will die. And you begin to slowly move forward to where you kind of remember at least the rest of the village being. And as you're walking, it's like a white out. You can barely see anything. But there's a shadow of something just in front of your visage. And you keep stepping forward and you can see it. It's slowly starting to materialize into something. You can see what it looks like. It's still a little ways out. Someone on horseback with someone stood next to it, like leading a horse. But as you just start to be able to make this out, you begin to lose consciousness, drop to your knees, and you are out cold for the time being.
Fair. Just a quick question before we transition. Was I able to find any letter or heraldry on
Yes, sorry. I completely missed that bit, but as you sort of look over the assassin, and because you are like completely stripping them and putting them in different clothing, I'm not gonna make you roll for this because it's pretty easy. You find basically the handwritten order for your assassination, written on something that looks like vellum, or parchment, but is a strange texture, not quite paper. And is a strange sort of coloration to it. It's like, you know, when you see pigskin and it's gone that sort of like orangey color because it's been air dried and hung. That's kind of what it looks like.
Is it? Are the characters readable? I see the handwritten
Yes.
order. Is there a signature?
There is no signature, but there is your name, there is a description of you, and your last known location.
Okay, and nothing about who the order was given by. Got it.
No.
I'll take the assassin's like clothes and put them in a bag and you know like hitchhike it. Like, so I'll have the axe and whatever. The thing with vellum though, I want to put into my small clothes, like in the back, so it doesn't get blood on it. So I'm unconscious in the snow.
The last thing we see from Brollan is him falling to his knees and then into the snow as he loses consciousness. With that, we move across the country to a small camp in the middle of the Wolf's Wood. It is dark now, and the men of this small camp are taking turns to keep watch whilst yourself and Rose sleep for the night, Brynden. As your eyes drift closed, you begin to have a familiar sensation. This is this feeling you get in the pit of your stomach when you're having a dream. And you can see, again, this bitter storm, these snows coming in thick and heavy, obscuring almost everything. And you are atop a horse. You have someone leading your horse. You're not entirely sure who they are. They're not someone of repute. They look like to be a household guard. They're dressed in warm clothing. And you can see that this is the middle of a battlefield. This is the aftermath of a battlefield. And as you look around, you see bodies piled high, getting covered slowly with the snow. And the bodies, as you look at them, are almost like it's Brollan, it's Nymor, it's yourself, it's your sisters, it's your mother, it's your father, your cousins, your aunt. The bodies are all people you know. But it's not possible. They're all dressed like warriors, like all dressed like soldiers. Riona isn't a soldier, but she's here dead on the battlefield looking like a soldier. You see Lyneth, you see, you see anyone that you know here. And it is just desolation. There are bodies everywhere. And some of the bodies you see have these bright green eyes, and they don't look quite like people. They look different. They look otherworldly, like parts of their skin are bark, are part of the trees, are something old, something ancient. And they appear too to have died on this field, like there is a great war between the two. And you look down at your hands, Brynden, and instead of seeing maybe thick woolen gloves or leather gloves, you can see these hands that don't look quite human, that don't look quite like flesh.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I think Brynden would react and try and see if there's a body that he doesn't recognize, because I think he would at least realize this is another dream. And rather try and make sense of all this, see if there's anything that might give itself away or give another clue. So he'll start to look around for a body that doesn't resemble someone that he knows.
Yeah, so as you move through the battlefield, you start seeing just generic sort of faces. You know, this is just a man that is dead. This is just a person that is dead. But part of you really connects that this is somewhere, somewhen different when you see the dead body of a giant in the middle of the field, its body pierced by weapons.
I think Brynden would start to piece together that he knows somewhat of what this dream is, and it's the dream of his ancestors. When the house was divided by the two original twin brothers, Ak and Baird. And I think he would just start to talk to himself because everyone's dead, and this is terrifying. Okay. So this is how it all happened. One brother turned against brother. But why should I see this? And I think he would start to look up and start to get a little frustrated, as he typically does with his moody, broody self. Why am I saying this?
So as you call out this challenge to the scene, things just seem to intensify all at once. Color, sound, feeling. It becomes intensely cold. It becomes intensely bright. You hear the sounds of screaming war and battle all around you before your vision is completely turned white. And you see in front of you your brother and your sister, Brollan and Ragnar. And this is a hall which is familiar to you. Like you feel warm and welcome here, like you've lived here your whole life, but it looks different. It looks almost ancient to you, rickety, you know, almost pleasantly old-fashioned compared to what you're used to at Greenwall Keep. And you can see that Brollan and Ragnar are in the midst of a very heated argument.
Can I hear what they're arguing about, or is it all kind of muffled and dream-esque?
It's kind of muffled and dream. Yeah, it's like you're hearing it through a wall, even though it's happening right in front of you. But you can see through their body language, and their faces are reddening in anger. They're shouting at each other. There's gesturing and poking, and you know, like Brollan has his hand on like a sword that's at his belt. He hasn't drawn it, but he's holding it in that sort of aggressive manner.
How old is Brollan in this dream?
He looks like himself now, the Brollan that left you when he went to Winterfell.
And Ragnar looks probably the same before she died. Yeah, or does she? Or okay.
Yeah.
I think Brynden would look around the room for any identifying factors of if this is a real scene or if it's green site mumbo jumbo with puzzles, and see if there's any symbols, banners, etc.
So you look around the room, and again, you're trying to figure out, is this real? Is this something that happened? And part of your brain knows that this can't be something that happened, because Brollan wasn't this old. Ragnar died trying to rescue him. She never saw Brollan. She never got to see him again. She was killed before you even got to him. And as you look around, you feel it innately in yourself as you look at the guards that are posted around the door, and their eyes shine brightly green, and you feel it. You don't, as well as seeing it, you feel it as though it's like a wave that hits you, a connection, an extra sort of sixth sense connection that hits you with these eyes of these guards.
Who are you? And why are you showing me this? He'll say to the guard.
And you hear it. It's multiple voices, like 100 people are speaking at once in a strange ethereal tone, in a language that you know you don't understand. And you hear it at first, not comprehending what is said, before it begins to clarify in your brain. It's almost like you're hearing it in your mind without hearing it in your ears, as these voices all at once say to you, "You are of his blood."
Of whose blood? Of Brollan's?
Yes and no. The forest calls you, Brynden. Do you hear it?
Are you dead? Are you even real? And he kind of reaches out his hand to like see if the guard will do anything.
And your hand almost like passes through the guard. There is no physical contact there. And you hear the voices again say, "We died once, but we live again. Our blood is pure. Our blood runs still."
And have you seen everything that's happened in the north? Yeah? Or just some, or... What do you know of my world?
The trees sing of your stories. We hear them. We see them. We feel them. We know them. We know you.
You know me.
You are one of us.
Then... Is my brother one of us?
Yes and no.
Why did Orc betray his brother thousands of years ago?
What some would call betrayal, others would call protection.
And who was he protecting then?
Us.
From who?
Them. The men, those like your brother, that kill and conquer.
What do you think I should do?
Protect us.
I don't know if I know how.
You do. You hide the truth from yourself, but deep down you know. The forest sings your name, Brynden Braddock. Will you hear it?
It's just hard to believe. My brother seems like a good man. He seems like he wants what's best for our people. His wife definitely wants what's best for our people. But on the other hand, I've seen the lives he's taken. How many lives has my brother taken that you've seen? Lives of those who could have been spared.
We've seen them all. Villages, towns, ships, travelers, other marauders. The path of Brollan Braddock's good intentions is paved with corpses.
Do you think I'd make a better lord than he would?
You are one of us.
And I think he would look back down at his hand to see if he still has the druid-like features that you've been describing.
Mm-hmm. You look down and you look like you have this hand. Just one this time. The other seems as flesh. And as you sort of clench a fist to inspect it, it seems to fade, giving way to the hands that you are familiar with.
So if you've seen it all, what would you have me do with Lyneth and her baby?
The voices are quiet for a moment, and you feel it like a humming, like a sensation, a vibration. You know when you are at a concert and you feel the bass in the speakers and it vibrates through your whole body and you feel it. You feel a very similar situation as the voices say to you, you are one of us. You are a child of the forest. You should sit upon the seat. Remove the usurpers. Remove those who would cause us and our people and our lands, our heritages harm. All of them.
How do I know this isn't some deep, dark magic? And do not play me like a fool.
You again feel that intense vibration within your body, and this time the soldier that you have been speaking to as this avatar of them, which has not been keeping your eyes or anything. It's kind of that's been the very professional, like the guard outside Buckingham Palace, like staring straight ahead. This time, its eyes meet yours, and the soldier's hand comes up and touches 2 fingers to your forehead, Brynden, and you feel this warmth as it does. You feel this just in an entire body, like you've just been dunked in a vat of warm water, and you feel this like light expand within your chest.
Well, that's strange. I've never felt something like this before.
This is your blood. This is your heritage. This is your birthright.
And what if I don't?
If you don't...
What if I don't want this?
Then the weirwoods will cry and scream, and the children of the forest will sleep again. Our time will pass, and we will fade.
Is there no other way?
And there is silence as a response.
Do you know who is the drowned sea wolf and the winter rose?
And the voices begin to just slowly repeat what they just said. The children will sleep, we will fade. And then you start to hear, again, like a cacophony all around you. One shall fall, one shall rise. As the snows turn red, the children cry. One shall fall, one shall rise. As the snows turn red, the children cry. Just over and over and over. And it gets louder and louder, and you turn to look to see if Brollan and Ragnar are in their place. And again, you see corpses on the ground, both of them dead at your feet. And again, your vision is returned to this battlefield where those that you know and love are dead all around, surrounded by these children of the forest corpses, the giants, the other strange animals from a time long gone, all around. And you see in the middle of the battlefield a great weirwood tree. Its face is that of pure anguish. Its eyes and mouth are frozen in a crying scream as this blood red sap is pouring from its eyes. And in its branches, you see a single black raven.
He would start walking towards the tree and the raven.
And as you do this rhyme again, going over and over, and you approach the tree, and the raven looks at you, turns its head with an uncanny consciousness, an uncanny awareness, something that, ravens are pretty dang smart. They're pretty crazy, awesome birds. But this has movements to it which betray a different intelligence to it. And you can see as it turns, it has a single red eye as it sort of looks at you and looks you up and down.
Well, that's strange. And he would go out and take his finger against the blood of the sap and see if it's the same type of feeling he got before when Nymor and him looked at the weirwood tree at Greenwall.
So you reach out, you touch the tree, you touch the sap, and you feel that same consistency. This is the blood that had bled from the weirwood in Greenwall Keep. And as you do so, and you look at it, you recognize, you snap awake in the middle of the camp.
And he starts to look around to see if others are awake or if it's early in the morning, etc. Get a grasp on surroundings.
Yeah. It's still pretty early in the morning. The sun has not yet risen. You can see the two, I can't remember I think it was 2 or 3 men that Rose had brought are asleep. And you can see that she is sat up, sort of poking the fire, keeping watch for the time being.
Rose?
Yeah?
Was your shift all right?
And she's like, she's poking the fire, and she's like, what? Before she turns to look at you, and she can see that you are like drenched with sweat, and you have that look on your face with the breathing. She turns to you like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
There's something out here.
Yeah, a fucking lot of wolves.
Yeah. Wolves.
What's going on with you?
I just had a bad dream. That's all.
You're dreaming
Felt
about
real.
monsters under your bed or something.
More like the monsters in my head.
What sort of monsters does a lordling have in his head?
The ones that might be real.
She just gives you a questioning look as to like, what? She has no idea, the context of any of this, and she's just sort of giving you this quizzical, like, what the fuck are you talking about kind of look.
You remember when I said this was sacred ground?
Yeah, because you had a nutty ancestor that had visions and shit.
Yeah, I don't know if sacred's the right word anymore. Haunted.
What, do you think something bad happened to you?
Yeah, I do. And I think he continuously just like looks at the trees, and he's looking just to see the piercing green eyes again, because they've just been sitting at the when you see something and you keep seeing it at the forefront of your head, those eyes are what's just sitting there this whole time. And he just keeps looking from tree to tree to tree, like, oh.
And Rose is she's looking at you like you might be sick or ill or something, but she's not. Like, she doesn't give a shit about you that much to go and check that you're actually all right, just to make sure that you're not going to be a nuisance or a pain. And she gets up to stretch her legs a bit and do like a perimeter of their camp. And she looks at you and says, look, whatever shit you've got going on, can you keep it to a dull fucking roar? We don't want to pull everything in the woods right upon us.
I'd be much more worried that there are things that already know that we're here.
Well, never you worry, lad. If anything tries anything, she like pats the daggers on her belt. I'll sort them out.
You do that.
And she like goes over to her pack and pulls out her blanket, and like an extra blanket, she throws it at you. She's just, try and get some rest. We got a long walk tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Staying here another day?
No, well, I mean, when sun up. When sun comes up, we're off to your house, aren't we? That's what you promised.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. And I think Brynden tries to rest his eyes and fall asleep, but it's just the typical staring at the back of eyelids, like groggy, I drank coffee all night and played video games type sleep. Just seen some shit.
Yep. AKA me 24 hours ago. So Brynden, you wrap yourself in this extra blanket and try to get some rest. As we cut again cross country a little way, halfway between this and Winterfell, back at Greenwall Keep. Nymor, you are still unconscious, so you have no idea this is happening. But nonetheless, you are fast asleep in your quarters. Gerald, the poor put-upon squire of Brynden, had done his absolute best to tuck you in and make you comfortable. You have thankfully been rolled onto your side so you don't swallow your tongue and die while you are unconscious. And there's a knock at your door, which again goes unanswered, being unconscious as you are.
Just a little comatose.
The knock, yeah, just a little unconscious. There's a light knock, a polite knock. And then there's a heavier knock. And there's a sound of, Nymor? Nymore, you daft bastard. Come on, no one's seen you in a while. Are you sleeping in? Bloody hell. And it's Winifred as she's banging on your door. And, she's calling out Nymore's name before the door opens. And you see in the doorframe Winifred. And she looks at you and she's like, Nymore, look, if you wanted to get me into bed with you, you don't have to play this bloody charade. We've been here before. We've done this dance. And she comes over to jokingly, wake you up. And she pushes your shoulder, shakes it a little. And you, in your strange underwater sensation, as you're feeling, remembering this dream of Ragnar, you feel the sensation of being rocked. And you can hear Winifred's voice almost like she's leagues away, but quiet in this water, muffled, as her voice trying to rouse you, to wake you up. As she's like, come on, Nymore, I'm sick of playing this bloody game with you. Come on, wake up. You've got shit to do. The ravens, Scarlet tried to nip me, little bugger. And, she's like trying to do her best to wake you up. But the joking tone in her voice soon disappears as she becomes concerned. And then you feel a slight pressure on your forehead as she's feeling for a temperature. You feel it on your neck as she's making sure that you still have a pulse. She puts a hand in front of your mouth to see if she can feel your breathing. And her voice gets a little more desperate. She's like, Nymore, come on, wake up, Nymore, come on. And you can hear her voice start to break a little as she's calling your name.
And I try to swim, but I don't know where the voice is coming from, and the water is so difficult to move through, and I try to move, but I don't think I go anywhere, and I shout out, Winifred, it's dark here. You don't hear me, I don't think. And I wonder if I will ever get out of this place, if I will always be in this middle place. I should not be breathing the water, but I am. It is no good. But I try to swim, but I don't know. It's dark.
And you can hear her voice calling for you still. And you start to hear in her voice that she's upset that you cannot or will not awake. And it's strange. You're in the midst of water, but you feel like a little splash on your cheek. As in the waking world, Winifred is crying as she's trying to rouse you and you aren't waking. And you feel like a pressure around you as she like hugs you, holds you tight to her as she's trying to wake you, but nothing is happening. And you hear her say softly, I'm going to find someone, Nymore. We're going to make you all right. Don't you bloody leave me, do you hear me? And that pressure you feel around you is gone as Winifred runs from the room, trying to find anyone in the castle that can help.
And I think I float in this place. Just, I imagine I am now alone, just in this nowhere place, just the void and the water. And it's cold. But I have to get out somehow. I cannot be here because people need me, and I have to find my way back. But, well, if this is what I think it is, I hope it is something just, but, well, it is only, the only thing to do is to wait, and either I will wake or I will not. And if I don't, maybe this is what it's like when you die. This nothingness.
As those thoughts pass through your mind, Naimor, you once again, you almost relax into it now. You've been fighting it ever since you are here. And you relax, accepting maybe this is just my life now. This is just my lot. This is just who I am, where and how I am. In the waking world, as the door slams and Winifred runs down the steps, your finger twitches. And on that little flick, we pan east to Winterfell. It has been a busy day, Lyneth and Riona, as you have been brought to the quarters of Lord and Lady Manderley, who have been preparing for this betrothal ceremony between Roland and Riona, who I just realized I gave 2 R names, goddamn. And there's chaos everywhere. Servants are running back and forth. Right, the little seal is going to look adorable. And servants are running.
We have to make sure we get this monogram on all the. We have to make sure we get the monogram on all the linens.
Yes, a breakfast of honeyed figs and other delicious Westerosi foods that I always just get stuck on honeyed figs are brought for this beautiful brunch. It's 100% like going out to a fancy place before a rehearsal dinner for a wedding or something. The nice wine is brought out for this. There is lords and ladies of to do with House Manderley, including the Lord and the Lady, who are kind of overseeing things. Roland is there and present. He's dressed in extremely, nice clothing. There's some premium brocade going on his doublet. His hair has been you can tell his mum has come and done his hair because it's not how he usually wears it, and he looks really uncomfortable with it. He's got a big fringe swoop that he doesn't like, and he keeps fussing with it, and his mum keeps telling him to quit fussing with it. Lord Manderley is rather quiet and stoic during this whole affair. He is more tending to the logistics of things rather than engaging in conversation. And thank you, Raiders. Welcome on in. You're joining us for some Game of Thrones action right now. We're just about to have a betrothal ceremony. So Lord Manderley is getting engaged with the logistics. He's talking to the staff. He's arranging for things. He's often not in the room because he's gone elsewhere to sort something. But Lady Manderley is doing her best to be a lovely host, as she's making sure that everyone is well attended to. She's doting on Riona. She's complimenting her lovely dress. Saying how beautiful and fine a young lady she is. And of course, doting upon you, Lyneth, being of the Tyrell lineage. Even though you are no longer a Tyrell, you're still a Tyrell. So people are kind of treating you with that extra oh, she's important. We must pay attention to her. And it might be a little overbearing, but yes. And this is a scene that you find yourselves in at present.
At some point, probably when there's during one of the fittings to make sure that the dress that Riona is going to wear to this event fits appropriately, Lyneth is going to try and quietly, without anyone else overhearing, keeping an eye on both Lord and Lady, but on Lady Manderley, more on Lord Manderley at the moment. But she's just going to kind of adjusting the back fit, kind of pinning the seam so it kind of pins in correctly. Lean into, brush her hair back and kind of lean into Riona's ear and say, now, important thing number 1, we are not safe here. Don't trust this.
Yes, I'm aware.
Important number 2. If this goes very badly, you get on a horse and you run and do not look back. Understand?
Yes. Same for you as well.
She kind of, like, behind Riona, so Riona can't see it, kind of smiles at that and just like, that's not what's going to happen, dear. Lady Manderley was too ready for this as a suggestion. And Lady Bolton was too prepared to have a conversation at a first meeting.
Yes, if I had been not so intimately involved in this, I do have the same. It's just, it's so overwhelming. But yes, I'll keep my eyes out.
You will be fine. I'm also leaving 3 of the pins in the lining of your hem, darling, if you need them.
Her eyes was like, I hope it doesn't come down to that. But
I hope so as well. But it's better to be prepared than not.
She'll quickly just kind of like discreetly grab your hand, like, you, Brollan, and your child are the future of this house. You have to be safe too. If things go badly, then it's partially my fault.
Riona,
I said yes.
if anything goes badly, it's not your fault. Roland is a good man, and he can't lie for shit. His parents and others may take advantage of him, but it's not him. And Riona, as much as this child might be a future, the sad truth of the matter is that when we play the game, we all serve the house, not a family, the house. As long as the house stands, we stand.
Yes, I know.
So if this goes very badly, you get on a horse and you ride to Greenwall and you do not stop. And you tell Brynden everything. I sent him a note, but assuming he reads it.
Knowing him, he probably will. It's gonna be a little stir crazy in that place. I just know it. I'm sure that Nymor is keeping him occupied.
Nymor, and she kind of like pulled back a little bit to kind of like let this be slightly overheard. Meister Nymor and Brynden being alone at Greenwall Keep is slightly disconcerting. I wonder at the amount of entertaining that they have been doing without us.
I think she'll smile and just kind of like laugh a little bit. I'm sure.
And you look lovely, darling.
Thank you.
So as you share this moment, Lady Manderley comes in, because I imagine you're in a little separate room at this point to do this dress fitting, and she sees you in the dress, Riona, and she says, "Oh, you look beautiful, a vision. Look at you! Isn't she wonderful, Lyneth?"
I'm assuming by this point I've been introduced to Lady Manderley.
Oh, yes,
what's her name?
sorry, you would have been. Yes, her name is Bertha Manderley. Sorry, I do this all the time. I know what they're called, so I assume that you do. This is Lady Bertha Manderley. Yeah.
If she's using first names, And Lyneth is using first names. She does look absolutely gorgeous, Bertha. And I think the two of them will be absolutely perfect for each other. Did you see the way they stood next to each other? And they just kind of leaned into each other.
I know, such a handsome, beautiful young couple. I do love young love. And she's going off on like how romantic and cute this is, and she's so happy that her boy looks so happy. And she says, "Well, are you all quite ready? It's almost time for the ceremony."
Yes, And she'll kind of like take one of her pins from her hair and like use it to twist back Riona's and like use that to kind of slide in for her. Like, I think we are quite ready for this. You look absolutely gorgeous, darling.
Yes, I'm ready. I think as ready as I will ever be at this moment.
And Bertha comes up to you, and she does like a reassuring like little pat to your face. She says, "Don't look so worried, darling. It's just a little ceremony." And you are led from the room. That sounded so ominous. I just realized as I said it. Don't be so nervous. It's only an AK-47 was the energy of that sentence.
We should call this the red betrothal, eh? Red's my favorite color. And you're like, no.
What is that? The Reigns of Castamere? I love that song. So you are led out of the private quarters into the Godswood of Winterfell. And you can see like a little path has been cleared, and there are lanterns, almost like Westerosi tiki torches, that have been put in strategic places to make this a bit more of a ceremonial sort of atmosphere. And the snow in front of the weirwood has kind of been cleared out for the most part to give it almost a little stage. And you can see stood there already is Lord Stark. He is present. He has stood before the weirwood tree, along with basically at least one representative of the major noble houses that are here. And they're sort of stood around the edge to bear witness to this. As you have your hand, Riona, placed into that of Roland and his family, and Lyneth sort of go off either side to become part of the crowd as you two are given the nod to head up this small little aisle together. And Roland gives you a hand like a squeeze, and you can feel him sort of shaking a little as he does so. And he says to you really quietly, "Are you ready?"
As I am ready, but it's quite the thing. But
Isn't it?
yes.
Though I thought this would just be like my mum and dad and Lady Lyneth and Lord Brollan and me and you. I didn't realize that Lord Stark was going to be here. And he kind of gets a glare from his mother, and he's like, "Oh, right," and then starts walking forward, gently taking you with him, Riona. And you can see that, people are watching you pass. And the sort of looks you get from people, some give just like a mild, polite ambivalence. Some have a smile. They seem genuinely happy to see this little ceremony happening, especially in the midst of such a horrible conflict with the Skagosi. And some have a more neutral, if not hardened, expression as you pass them. But before long, you are stood before Lord Stark, and he clears his throat and says, "It is my duty as Lord Stark, Warden of the North, Lord of Winterfell, to conduct this ceremony on this day. I regret it couldn't be better weather." And he laughs to himself a little. But nonetheless, I must therefore ask you, Lord Roland Manderley, do you come here of your own free will? And Roland answers almost too quickly. Yes, my lord, I do. And he turns to you, Riona. Do you, Lady Riona Braddock, come here of your free will?
Yes, my lord. I do.
And he... I don't know why I just decided he's like a wedding DJ from the 90s, but he leans forward and says in like a quiet tone, "You sure?" and gives you a little wink.
This is his calling instead of being like, he's wanted to do this.
Right? He should have always been a wedding DJ. Lord of Winterfell was that. But he genuinely waits to see if you are sure.
Yes.
All right.
I think that little bit of casualness kind of like pulled her back a little bit. Like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Everything up to now has been super official, yeah.
Yeah. And he says, as this is not a wedding, there will be no exchanging of bridal cloaks. There will be no binding of hands. Just two people declaring their intentions to one another. It is, therefore, my honor and my duty as Warden of the North to recognize this betrothal and honor it in front of the old gods, and know that nothing can come between these two people, if they should want it. And Roland, at this point, turns to you, Riona, and he takes both his hands in yours, both your hands in his, even, and says, "Riona, I am." And he like tries to roll his shoulders back, and he takes a deep breath. "I am swearing to you today my intent to make you my wife, to one day protect and honor you as Lady Manderley, that one day we can be joined in marriage together. I swear it in front of the old gods and the new, if they're listening."
And you, Roland Manderley, I take the honor of being betrothed to you, and in the future being your loyal wife, and will remain true until the event where we can be married.
And as you're saying this, he's looking at you, and he's got the big dopey, like, dude in love face, and his smile. He's got a big warm smile, and he's just staring at you, and you see him mutter a little like, "Wow," to himself as his eyes are like tearing up. And you're just staring at each other for a little while, lost in this moment before Brynden just goes, "Kiss her then." And Roland goes, and he goes in for like a really polite little smooch.
Yes, I think it's at this. It's in front of everybody. It's super. It's a little awkward because it's just like everybody's watching you.
Yeah,
and she's a little stressed out. Yeah.
So you share this little prompt, polite kiss. And you hear again Brynden under his breath going, "Fucking hell, was that it?" Anyway, let's go get pissed, eh? And he puts his hands up to the rest to celebrate and officially end the mini ceremony. And there's polite clapping, there's a golf clap. Next to you, Lyneth, Lady Bertha Manderley is wiping a tear from her eye as she's so happy to see her boy up there with a lady of good standing, and people start to filter out as they do so. Lord Brynden wraps an arm around Roland. He like rips almost Roland from your hands, Riona, as Brynden is like, "All right, come on, lad," and he takes him into the Great Hall to feast him properly. As other ladies, maybe less minor noble ladies, come and gather around you, Riona, as much like in other times, and a betrothed woman is now like the hottest ticket in town. She becomes the social event because that's a wedding we might get invited to later. So all these minor ladies are sort of gathered around you. They're doing like the, oh my God, but Westeros, you know, and they sort of scoot you off elsewhere to go celebrate you. So you are almost like picked up and taken out by these younger ladies.
I think before she's like, she'll like just kind of maybe like see if she can look for Lyneth and just kind of like, it's like, oh my God.
How would you be dealing with this, Lyneth, as you see this happen?
Well, when the ceremony was going on, before we got there, she was clocking everyone who was more neutral in expression. Making sure she knew who they were and where they were and how they were dressed. Possibly. It's not like she's paranoid. And she, when she sees Lyneth, or when she sees Riona in the care of all these other young women, she slightly relaxes a little bit and smiles at Riona. It's like, go ahead, because at this point, if anything goes wrong, Riona is safe. Like, it would be almost impossible for Riona to be a target at this point.
Yeah, I think she was looking for Lyneth to like be kind of like how things are going, because she's probably been to way more of these than Riona has, which has probably been very few of them. So she's like, so when she gets that approval, she like relaxes a little bit. Like she's been a little tense, like knowing the situation that we've been like walked into. So
okay, so as Riona is sort of whisked away by the other young ladies, and you have like, you're getting like wine put into your hand, you know, the other ladies are asking you like, oh my God, how does it feel? Was it like, you know, like all this sort of gossip, you know, what's he like? How are you excited? When are you going to have the wedding? When you do, how many children do you think you're going to have? You know, do you know what you're going to call them? Where are you going to live? All these like a million questions.
Yeah, she might be a little overwhelmed because I imagine like she hasn't had terribly many like friends of her age, so it's just like this is a lot at once from like kind of like a social situation she probably has very little like experience with. So yeah, she's trying her best to like, I mean, like, you know, happy, you know, appear like, you know, happy and like, you know, being as friendly as possible with these other ladies.
Side note, one of my favorite paintings, I cannot remember the title or the author, but it's a young woman who's just been married and there's all these women around her and she's got a hand up like that, but she looks so freaking miserable. It's the greatest. She's just sat in a chair and there's all these women fawning over her and she's just like, It's a great painting. Anyway, Lyneth, you are stood in the Godswood as you see Riona being whisked away, and you see a lot of the other guests filtering out and making their way to the hall for the feast. Feast, big dinner. The Stark has put on, and you see Lord and Lady Manderley also leave. Before you know it, you're left alone with Lady Bolton. And she stands next to you. She has her hands in like a fur muff, because I feel like that's her energy, with a cloak on her shoulders. And she says to you, Lady Lyneth, it is a pleasure to see you again.
Oh, crap, I wrote it down, hold on. Lady Gisela, so nice for you to come at a wonderful event.
Truly, I love events like this, don't you?
Oh, so much when we get to have young new blood joining us.
Such happy, long futures ahead of them. They have no idea what awaits them, do they?
No, they don't. But isn't that the fun? The unpredictability of it all.
The excitement of a new life. I would like to roll some initiative as we are going into an intrigue. Because let's be real here. These two women, they know what they're about. So this is going to be a status breeding test.
Oh.
She
Okay.
is. It's going to be 1 million for Lyneth because of who she is.
I rolled poorly. It's only a 19.
Oh, only. Oh. Let me roll for her. She's going to be rolling. How is she rolling? Yeah, she's rolling. She got a 20. So that is 1 point. She's going to go first. And she gives that very cordial, very practiced smile before she says, yes, there's a lot of things that happen in marriages, the ups and downs, the tying of an old house to a new house, and vice versa. A lot of strange things, a lot of old conflicts and bloods and grudges that suddenly become yours. And she sort of laughs to herself. Tell me, is there any truth to the terrible rumors I've been hearing around court about yourself and your husband?
As I am not 100% certain of what rumors you may or may not have heard, I can honestly say, if you're considering certain things about Lord Stark and his, well, hissy fit the other day, no, none of those rumors are true at all.
I've just been hearing just troubling things that I'm certain could not be true. I mean, I said it myself when I was approached with such gossip. I said, well, it couldn't possibly be true. Lady Lyneth would never be such a traitor. I couldn't believe that such a word would be banded in your husband's direction, honestly. It's just vicious, horrible things to be said. She is going to attempt to influence you. She is going to, because this is her turn in the intrigue. So she's going to
How is she attempting to influence me?
She's going to be using deception, which is just flat influence.
Well, okay.
As her action. Although Lyneth will not know that this is a deception roll.
Well, it becomes important because I have dutiful, so if she attempts to convince, incite, or seduce, she has a -1d.
That's right. She does not.
That's the only reason I was asking.
Gotcha. No, she is gonna come at you with something else. Remember you're dutiful, because Charlie never does. Yeah. Okay. So, we're going to be rolling. Oh my god. This is what you get for actually rolling up a proper character with benefits and modifiers. She's probably rolling. That's going to be in the... Plus... Okay. She's gonna, that's a 22 because she has a +6 modifier to that test. So a 22 against your intrigue defense.
She does beat that. But it is not a crit.
Good. Okay. So what is your intrigue defense, just so we can work out our degrees of success?
12.
12. Okay. So that is 12. That is 1 degree of success. Yeah. Ooh. She is going to hit you for 4 influence damage against your DR, which is your disposition towards her. So use that as your soak.
Yep.
And so she says that, I've heard such terrible things, traitor, like she puts a lot of emphasis on the word traitor as she looks at you, and ends her sentence with that sort of, again, that very practiced, cordial, safe sort of smile as she regards you.
Well, I wouldn't put too much stock in rumors of such things. I mean, two gentlemen went out and had a couple of drinks and then came back and were arguing about, well, whatever gentlemen in arguments involved alcohol. I would never wish to assume that one only gave credit to rumors, but you are quite correct. There are no rumors at all of, well, excuse me, I can't say that. There are rumors, but there are no truth whatsoever to any rumors of Brollan being a traitor. Such things are always difficult. Now, can I agree that the Starks and the Braddocks don't get along? That's pleasant to everyone. Everyone knows that. But traitor, such a charged term.
And she responds with, I know, just scandalous positively. I mean, I feel like in this day and age, too, that term traitor is just bandied around. After they had that whole rebellion in the South, it kind of just becomes an au fait term.
Yes, one has an objection to one's lord or one's lord's actions, perhaps wishing to provide needed insight into their, plans for the future. Instead, one becomes argued a traitor instead of just a well-respected and important advisor.
I cannot but help agree. There are times when we must question our lords. We must, for the sake of our own peoples, for the sake of the realm, we must question our lords and ensure that the best is being done for our peoples. Do you not agree, my good lady?
Of course. The best must be done for the realm. The realm, what are lords for but except to protect the realm? It is our duty.
It's our duty and our charge, of course. Something drilled into us women from the moment we're born. These men are born with the luxury of only having these responsibilities when they grow older. They don't know what it's like, do they?
No, they don't. And really, I wish sometimes that it would be better training, perhaps, if one stressed the duty that these lords owed both to their people and their vassals, as well as the duty that one owes to their lord. Such minor disagreements would have been dealt with years ago.
Of course. If you want to go at any point, Prax, to make your roll against the Lady Bolton.
Actually, I think what I would like to do this round is, ooh, do I? No. Is to read target.
Ooh, okay. So this, you need to make an awareness empathy test. Test? Awareness empathy test against her passive deception result. I don't know what is happening to me today. I can't speak English.
You're turning into a valley girl. It's fine.
Right?
No. It's fine. It's all fine. I'm going to go ahead and use one of those charming keep dice up there.
Uh-huh.
And it's empathy, right?
Yes.
So that's an 18 against
18.
passive.
That does not defeat her passive deception.
Ooh.
She has a very, very fun benefit, which I have on my other Game of Thrones character. But so as you sort of look her over, trying to gauge where she's coming at, what she's saying here, she's very hard to read. You can tell this woman is incredibly practiced at navigating that courtly battlefield. Every inch of her is composed. Her hands have not left that fur muff that she has, like resting on her tongue. You know, and you can actually, as you look her over, you can see that she is putting more emphasis on her stomach now. As she did reveal to you last time you spoke that she was pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
But now she's kind of emphasizing it in her clothing.
Mm-hmm.
So she's, you know, incredibly composed. And welcome in, raiders. Thank you so much for that raid. And she says, that is a very interesting conundrum that many lords, I feel, find themselves in. How do we question our superiors? How do we question the wardens of the north, of the south, of whichever lands without insult, without question, without being accused of being traitors? You know, like how do we achieve such a thing?
Honestly, I think it comes down to diplomacy and discussions that one should be having, of course, and of course raising one's children in an appropriate manner to recognize that sometimes you must take instruction where it can be given. Is that not why we have maesters? Is that not? Can you not understand? Would that not be the appropriate thing for them to do, to make sure that they knew that loyalty is earned, not merely given?
Well, of course, but you know as well as I do that this notion in theory is not so common in practice, as there is that fragile ego that usually gets in the way. You know, you can approach someone with the best intentions in the world, phrase your question in the most flowery, polite language you possibly can, but some men just do not like to ever be questioned.
Yes, it is a failing of men, isn't it? They don't respect anyone other themselves. They believe they know everything, and then when somebody shows that they do not know everything, they become so upset that they deny reality that's in front of their face.
That they do, and the failings even more still when one is raised a warrior and finds themselves in a diplomat's position.
Yes, it is difficult when one has a warrior to make sure that they recognize the importance of diplomacy.
Of course.
It is a hope that we can have that such people will in the future learn to recognize the benefits of such.
It's true. It's true. We can hope that in the future these lords do recognize the benefits of those they keep around them. But for the time being, I feel like we still have quite a way to go. There are some, and her eyes kind of look back to the keep, that really don't appreciate those that they have advising them.
Honestly, it's such a problem of the male constitution, is it not? They don't respect the people that they ask for information merely because the information they ask for isn't what they want to hear. If you'd asked for have a person to be their advisor, you must, of course, respect their intelligence and their ability to give sound advice. I mean, I was noting the other day how wonderful your husband was providing such fine service for Lord Stark.
Well, yes. Lord Stark is very lucky to have my husband, though unfortunately his advice often falls on deaf ears, as it appears the Lord Stark merely wants his advisors to confirm what he already believes. It's a tricky position to be in, a frustrating one too. But alas, that is the burden we must bear.
I mean, what else can we do?
What else can we do, indeed? And she is going to take an action right now. I'm just trying to think here of what to do. Okay. She's gonna come at you with one of those, which is gonna be. Nope, that's not how you do that, Susie. Every time. Keep. Do you know, I'm gonna use one of my last little blue fella. We're gonna use that. So that's gonna be that. It's gonna be an 18 against your intrigue defense, which I believe is a 16, right?
12.
12. Okay, so that is gonna be 2 degrees of success.
2 degrees of success.
And that is gonna be a 8 composure damage.
Is it?
Well, against your DR.
I mean, against a DR.
But I imagine that you two are best friends, right? That's what it looks like. So I imagine you have no defenses against each other since you just seem so friendly, you two.
They're besties, honestly.
Yeah.
You all thought the snow was cold. Try being in this conversation.
I mean, wait, what was her last line?
It was it was about difficulties being her husband being an advisor of Lord Brynden, because he often doesn't want to hear the advice. He just wants his own stuff confirmed.
Yeah. Such things are obviously a great burden, and I'm very impressed with how well your husband manages to take and do such difficult work. He really is a great service to the realm.
And she smiles and she says, I am very proud of him. I am indeed. Though I fear that he is wasted here in the north.
I mean, I could see how he could be benefit to Dayron. I mean, Dayron really does need to benefit more from such sound advice. He is a very slightly bookish gentleman, but quite kind. I think he would be a benefit. I think if you and Lord Bolton went to King's Landing, it would be a great benefit for you both.
Well, I quite agree, and it would make me closer to home and a more warmer clime than this frigid hellscape that we call the North. But unfortunately, Wallace is far too attached to the North, to the realm. He loves, truly loves the North. He would give anything for it.
And such honor must be rewarded, of course. Dedication, faithfulness.
Of course, though I worry that he is so invested, that his talents are going so to waste, and his advice is going so unheard by, quite frankly, and you'll have to forgive me for saying this so openly, but such a weak leader. No doubt Lord Brynden is a great warrior, but I worry for the people of the North while he is in charge. They're going to suffer while he is too busy with his campaign.
Don't worry. We would be well served if Brynden were able to better act for his people or to trust those who can inform him of such. It really wouldn't wish any harm to come to the North, and it is our duty as lords and ladies to act in their defense, to serve the people in whatever manner we can.
Well, of course. But the man has no attachment to his people. He takes no wife, he has fathered no other children but that one bastard he keeps hanging around. And she gets kind of like faux outraged for a moment, you know, as she's putting on the whole like, I just worry so much. I suppose part of me worried, hoped even, that when I heard these rumors of this treason, that I would be amongst friends with who I could air these concerns to.
Oh. And Lyneth will reach out and put her hand on, like, her wrist right outside the muff. And go, oh no, Gisela. And she will drop it and just go straight with first names. Gisela, of course you're my friends. We both wish to serve the North in the best means we can. And providing and finding the best path forward is what we should do. Now, perhaps you should tell me more about these concerns that you have so that we might address them appropriately.
All right,
I will
so
on her.
yeah, okay. Let's have your action, because I believe it's your turn in the intrigue, right? Yes, because I went last.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
Mm-hmm. I will use my. So you've used your last. I will use my of the little blue guys. Fun thing I get to do.
No, for real, this conversation is more tense than when the queen literally asked me to assassinate her brother in the other Game of Thrones campaign. Like, there, it feels like there's more on the line here. I'm like...
Cool. Oh, I rolled crap. Well, hold on. I get to re-roll those 3 ones. So add 10 to that?
Yep.
So, yeah.
Well, it would replace...
It would replace the 1 and the 4. Yeah. So add 10. Drop by 1, add 10. So 19 to 29.
Fuck. Okay, 29. That is 16, 21, 26. It's 4 degrees of success. Yeah, 4 degrees of success.
And that's will rank. That's 16.
Ooh,
damage.
Big hit incoming. Holy shit. Okay. Let me think what her DR is. 16. Okay. She is going to take a point of frustration. Frustration reduces incoming influence equal to your will rank. Each point of frustration you have imposes -1d on all persuasion tests for the duration of the intrigue. So she reduces that influence damage. That is nasty. It goes on persuasion tests. Okay. Damn. All right. So as you say to her, tell me more. Like, tell me more about these frustrations and concerns. She begins to elaborate further about how infrastructure has begun to weaken, especially with Barthagen waging a war, then dying, then Brynden taking up. They were so focused on the war front that other stuff is slipping, that winter is coming, that food stockpiles are nowhere near where they should be. It's been a poor harvest. Like she's like kind of just outpouring this stuff, which seems on the surface to be super reasonable. Like, I am just concerned about my small folk kind of stuff. Like our house, we have to send a certain amount of food to Winterfell as part of our like tithe to the Warden of the North. But because we're doing that, our supplies are dwindling. She's laying it out kind of like this is kind of the tricky position that we're in currently. And as she sort of wraps that stuff up and she says, that there's this growing, I wouldn't so strongly call it a resentment, but a growing feeling amongst quite a lot of the other lords that if Lord Brynden doesn't start taking our advice soon, then disaster is going to befall us. And I know for a fact that there are people here that will act before that happens. Oh, you are muted, Prax. But I think while she says that, I'm going to roll my technique. She's going to try and hit you again with... So holding myself accountable to Sam's rules that he holds us accountable by, there is a white lie in that, so she's having to roll deception for it. But she's rolling deception. So that's going to be... no. If I just do this, is this going to do it? Yes. So that is a 20 against your intrigue defense.
Yeah, that's a success, but not a crit.
Okay. Your
12,
intrigue defense again
so-
was 12.
12.
So that's 17. Yeah, it's 2 degrees of success. So that is going to be 8 again. 8 influence damage.
Do I or do I not? Remind me, frustration.
So
reduces it
frustration
what?
by your will rank.
What is-
So if your rank, if
Oh,
your
by the
will
will
is
rank.
like 4, it reduces the incoming influence by 4.
Yeah, I'll do that. No, actually, I don't need to. Cool. Math is fun.
Math is fun and hard, and this game has a lot of it.
We would not wish. Ooh. Yeah. We would not wish harm to befall the realm. Any responsible lord should, of course, act in a manner to ensure that harm would not fall upon the realm. It is our duty and our responsibility. And as we are such good friends now, of course it would be appropriate, I fear to, of course, let you know, that I think that was part of Brollan's problem with Brynden. He was trying so hard to be forthright in his explanation of how the realm was in danger that, well, Brynden didn't take it very well.
I see. No, Wallace had a very similar situation. He tried to speak to Lord Brynden, tried to explain that if he continued down his path, he would have starving peasants and angry lords, but Lord Brynden did not want to hear it. He was too busy ranting about his brother dead on the field and all the other terrible things that had happened in the campaign, which, don't get me wrong, awful, and it breaks my heart to stand here in Winterfell knowing that a good lord of the north has perished. But there are more pressing matters at hand, and I suppose what I'm trying to say is that I find my heart becomes happy knowing that I am in such good company that agrees and thinks that should we have to act, then perhaps that we would. And she gives you that sort of like look.
Acting in defense of the realm is the one thing that we should always do.
And the realm is its people. We must act for them.
And she kind of eyes you up and down. And she's clearly like obviously dancing around asking if you're going to be a direct conspirator.
Yeah, it's fine. Lyneth reaches, she still left her hand on the wrist, and she just kind of leans forward opens her shoulders, angles herself so that she's still in Gisella's line of sight, But Gisela
Mhm.
can see the weirwood tree and the heart tree behind her, and kind of give that little impression. Of course, you can tell me anything. We are here to help the realm together.
Oh boy, all right, roll your technique for her. Oh my god. And I'm gonna give you an extra bonus die for that beautiful play of having the weirwood in her view. So it's right there. Because the weirwoods mean a lot, you know? That's the old gods right there.
Mm-hmm. I haven't lied in anything that she said.
Nope.
Mm-hmm. I'm just going to convince her that you want to tell me everything. And I get a extra bonus dice on that. 2. So that's a 27. Ooh, wait, there's a 1 in there I get to re-roll.
Oh my god.
So that's
Oh
a
my
6. So I drop one of those 5s, and now I have 3 6s. I assume a 27 is over her intrigue defense, or at least double it. So that's 3d6 crit. On an intrigue defense is hurtful words. It takes 1 point of frustration. If they cannot take any more frustration, they lose 3 composure instead. And the damage is how many degrees of success? Is
Like all of them.
drop back 22, 28. All of them?
It's all of them.
Okay, so that's 20 damage.
With the crit, with the effect of the crit, and the fact that I would not be able to take as much enough frustration to nullify that hit, you have defeated her in the intrigue. And as you say these words to her, you know, how about, you know, tell me about it. Is that your goal of the intrigue, to get her to reveal like this conspiracy?
Oh yeah, Brollan did this whole bullshit because somebody's plotting, you know, conspiracy. Tell me about it, honey. I want to know.
Okay. So she, as you have your hand on your wrist, on her wrist, she removes her hand from the muff and like takes your hand, and you can feel like almost a genuine sort of squeeze in there as she's like, you see her face, she has kind of relaxed a little, but not relaxed as in like, oh, I can talk about my treason openly, but like as in like, oh, we're on a wavelength here, like you're someone I can trust. And she says to you, there is something in motion to alleviate Lord Stark of his burden and put it in the hands of those that could more care for it, more see that the people of the North are well tended to. My husband has very honorably stepped forward to take that honor once the deed is done. He will become Warden of the North in Lord Stark's stead, with a good, strong council around him of our friends. I'm sure you can assume who they are. And she smiles, and I'm going to give this to you for free because it's like TV, right? So there's a flashback where you see Lady Bolton talking to people, and amongst them you see Lord Glover. You can see oh man, who else? Lord Kerwin. You see also Lord and Lady Manderley. Having this discussion. And in like a flashback of, you remember them all sort of chatting and having a good time, and they sort of, have that quiet moment where one leans across and whispers something. You remember that quite clearly. And she says, as she squeezes your hand once more, And should you give us your support, we would see you well rewarded. House Broderick has been ignored for far too long.
Yes, it would be beneficial for House Broderick to rise along with others. And such new family bondings are obviously showing how good friends we all are. And she kind of she gestures her eyes back to the weirwood tree to like, by the way, we just had this, look, Riona is now involved with the Manderleys. We're real close and involved with this, guys.
Mm-hmm. And she says, as she sort of takes, she slides your arm into her arm and sort of like does that sort of let's walk and talk and pretend we were just having a nice friendly chat. And she sort of pats your hand as she says, you know, Lord Brollan Braddock would be a wonderful master at arms for the North, is all I'm saying.
Yes, would serve his talents well. And, would serve benefits for others. We would, such a strong military mind. I mean, did you not see everyone who watched the small little play fighting that Brollan and Lord Stark had? You know, everyone saw how good Brollan was on the field, and it would be quite beneficial for everyone to acknowledge his abilities.
And as she smiles and says, wouldn't it? We cut away from Lyneth and Gisela and to sweet Riona. So the feasting and celebrations have gotten loud and rowdy all around you. And there are celebrations happening all around. The ladies that were swarming you have kind of left you a little bit now that things are starting to kick off. You still have people, coming to chat to you every now and then, but you are not completely like swarmed by young ladies at the moment. Mm-hmm. And you can see Roland is up at the high table with Lord Stark, and he has that sort of reddish blush against his cheeks. And he's got that little, his hair that had been so perfectly coiffed by his mother has kind of fallen out of place a little as he looks at you from across the hall and smiles goofily, gives you a wave.
She'll wave back. But I think she, like, now that she's stopped being, like, the center of attention, I think she's a little exhausted. She's gonna kind of just sit down just catch her breath for a moment. And she's still remembering what Lyneth said about the situation and kind of the feeling she has. She's just gonna look around, like, as she does, like, look around the hall and see what, just kind of get the lay of it, how it's going now that.
So you can see the Lord and Lady Manderley having a quiet discussion with themselves. They're seated next to each other. They're like, drinking wine. The Lord Bolton is sat on the other side of Roland, and he's like watching the encounter between Stark and Roland. He's kind of not like watching analytically, but he's like a part of the conversation, but not really. When someone's having a conversation next to you a little bit and they sort of involve you, but you're not really in the conversation. The men-at-arms of the house are all drinking and having a great time. You can see that notably absent is Lady Karstark and her child. They're not here. Lord Cassell is also not here. But Lord Glover is here. Lord Flint is kind of sat in a corner looking grumpy with like a big swollen face after Brollan kicked the shit out of him. You can't see his son, though you do know his son is here. and Lord and Lady Kerwin are also seated up near Lord Stark. Everybody else here is kind of like a minor noble. But if you look at them, they'll give you like a polite raising of their glass. They smile at you. You get a couple of well wishes from people that pass you by. Like, oh, congratulations. When's the wedding? That kind of stuff. The polite sort of small talk. You get a few gifts in the form of small tokens. You get like a little twig of a weirwood, as an amulet, a token of good fortune. You get food and drink brought to you. You get a small pouch of silver stags given as a sort of like spend it on something for the two of you. Like it's literally like no one was prepared for this ceremony, so the presents you're getting are like, fuck, what have we got in our pockets? One lady brings you a lovely embroidered handkerchief, which has nothing to do with you or Roland on it, but it's still a fine piece of linen. But as the evening sort of progresses, is there anything else? Is there anything you would like to do? Anyone you would like to seek out here in this hall?
You know what? I'm gonna go up to the Manderleys, I think, before on her way to be with Roland.
Okay. As you approach, Lord Manderley gives you a polite nod, and Lady Manderley smiles at you warmly and says, "You looked beautiful today, Riona. Congratulations once more. I cannot wait to call you daughter."
Oh, we're so lucky. I am honored. Thank you. It's only beautiful because of this is what was put together. I am little brothers how beautiful the ceremony was, so I could not expect a warmer welcome thing. And I look forward to making plans.
Oh, of course. Now, I know this is all terribly sudden, but have you considered where you would like the wedding to take place? I mean, obviously, we would be more than delighted to host you. And in fact, I would almost insist upon it, but I am not sure about the customs of House Braddock. Do you have anything in particular for your weddings that you must attend?
Our house has a deep tradition of being the betrothed being married in front of the salt tree. It's a sacred place for our family. If that's not too much of a burden for the family to have, if it is not a large ask.
There's this strange expression that flicks over her face for the moment, as if to say, "Oh, I didn't actually want a real answer. You were supposed to be polite and say no." And she says, "Oh, what a peculiar tradition. Well, I'm certain that we can arrange something. But I suppose, Riona, it is important to remember that very soon you'll no longer be a Braddock. You would be a Manderley. So Braddock customs, I'm sorry to say, it must be left with your maiden house."
Of course, I apologize. I'm very just forget myself sometimes. It's been a lot. Like I said, it's been a very fast few days, and I didn't think it would be progressing as quickly. But
she
I honor your
smiles.
wishes no matter what you want.
She sort of pats your cheek again in that sort of like, "Don't worry, dear. It's all right. Besides, there was no offense taken at all. We are soon to be family. It's one of those things." And she like pats you again.
Do I get anything particular? I just kind of want to gauge what that interaction
I
was.
would
I think maybe she
say
knows that she maybe slipped a little bit.
roll me an awareness empathy. We'll treat this like a read target for this scene.
Okay. Oh God.
Oof. She is hard to read, unfortunately.
Mhm.
And she, she very quickly moves on as if she realized, oh fuck, I wasn't supposed to say that bit out loud. As she sees, she smiles and she sort of adjusts your little fur stole a little bit, and she says, Roland, you should maybe spend some time with your betrothed, since it has all been so terribly fast. I would want you to marry one another, not know one another.
Of course, I was planning on spending that time, but I wanted to thank the two of you, bottom of my heart, for that, for accepting me and having this beautiful ceremony.
No need to thank us, dear. You are most welcome. And Lord Manderley is kind of just like, grunts, nods his thanks. He is your archetypal British dad that doesn't really engage much with conversation. His role is to sit in the corner, grunt, nod every now and then. He's the stereotypical 50s, like, don't come to me unless it's something important kind of dad.
Yeah, I think she knows by what Roland told her, that he probably doesn't approve, but this is maybe the best this is maybe the best outcome she can, or interaction can get from him. So she'll it's all according to what Roland said, so she's not surprised nor incredibly disheartened by it. And she'll go up to join Roland.
Okay, so as you turn to join Roland, you notice that Lord Stark is absent. As in the back of your head, you remember in the midst of your conversation, he loudly announced he was going to go take a piss, to the cheers of a lot of the drunk men in the room. If you can tell, Lord Brandon's a little bit of a lad. And Roland is currently talking to Lord Bolton. I would like you to make me another awareness notice test as you make your way towards the table.
You know what? I will spend one of my dice for that, so I'll get extra bonus dice. So let's see. Awareness notice. Come on, bonus dice, please. 17.
Ooh, a 17. Woof. Okay, so you are, as you make your way along the high table, it's a strange sort of, the architecture of this room makes it so that if you are seated on this table, the way the voices echo make your voice heard along the whole thing. Like, they engineered it, right? So you can just talk quietly, but everyone at the table up top will be able to hear you, like the alcoves. That seems like some Westerosi bullshit. And you can hear Roland and Wallace Bolton talking quietly amongst themselves. And you hear Lord Bolton say, "Well done with that Braddock girl, boy." And Roland says, and he says in a tone that you are not super familiar with. This doesn't quite sound like his voice, but it is. And he says, "I'm not a boy. I don't see why I have to marry her anyway. She's what, a second daughter of a piss-for-nothing house in the West, and my father wants to marry her? For what?" And you hear Bolton, like, he puts an arm around her, around Roland, and he says, "Cheer up, lad, it'll all be worth it in the end. Your dad and I, we'll make it worth your while." And he sort of winks to Roland. And Roland kind of has a glum look on his face as he mutters into his cup, "The fucking better be." And then his eyes meet yours, and his expression immediately changes as he smiles and sees you. He goes, "Riona." It's so nice to see you. I hope you've been enjoying the evening. I'm so sorry that I haven't had a chance to get to speak to you much, but you know how it is.
I would like. She would normally be good at masking like, but this is a big shock, and what would I roll to like see if she can kind of keep that together?
I would say for a composure kind of thing, see if you can keep it together, would
Yeah.
be for me, I would say a willpower courage test. Will courage.
Okay. Because I think this would, any other situation, I think she would, but this is something that kind of cuts at her really hard. 20.
20. Ooh, okay. So you feel his words land through you like knives, you know? This sweet boy is saying such horrible things about you, but you manage to suppress that urge.
I think she has the similar, like, internally, what he did with his voice a little while. It's like, oh, just thanked your mother and father for the lovely betrothal. Though I was not expecting something so grand. I'm incredibly sad that we will have to. It will be a decent amount of time before we are rightly married. But how are you?
And he looks at you for a minute, and his brow furrows, and he says, "It'll be time for us to marry before we know it. Don't mind me." And he takes a swig. He says, "Though I do apologize. I'm a little in my cups. The Lord Stark is keeping me in beer."
As am I. I'd hate to miss the remainder of this happy celebration, but I am also had a little bit too much, and the ride was quite strenuous, and I'm quite tired.
And he immediately stands from his position and says, "Well, then I will arrange for some men to escort you to your quarters, my lady, and make sure that my betrothed is well tended to." And he's a little like giving the whole like drunk woozies.
Yeah. And she'll put her hand on his face and just, we'll make enough time tomorrow. Have a good walk through the weirwood tomorrow.
And he puts his hand on top of yours that's on his cheek. And he looks at you and he smiles. He says, "Until tomorrow, my love."
Tomorrow, my love. She'll wait for the guards to kind of escort her back to her room. Mm-hmm. Like, she's gonna just like get in just as much small talk as she can to kind of distract her a little bit.
Okay, and on that shot of you arriving before the heavy oak doors to your quarters, that is where we are going to end tonight's episode. Woof. I'm sorry. Are we still friends? Oh boy. Okay. That was quite the session. I'm being yelled at to apologize. I would like to officially apologize to all viewers and players of For the North for my great deception and horrible heartbreak that I have just inflicted on my good friends. But hey, it's Westeros. If you think this had a happy ending, you were not paying attention. But we are about to sign off for the night. But I do again want to thank you all for tuning in. And if you've been watching on YouTube, thank you so much for joining us on this journey. Please feel free to yell at me in the comments. Someone who I'm sure is about to yell at me is Mr. Johnny Blams. Hi, Johnny.
Oh, quite the opposite. That was something. Bravo to and all cast. That was like, wow, holy crap. I think as we played this session, I did some reflecting as you get times and the scenes you're not in. And what I've always loved about Thrones is those oh shit moments, you know, when you see it on the TV or when you're reading in the books and your mouth drops and you're like, and you get the shivers and Susie, you gave us so many of those moments in this episode, especially like with the whole dream sequence, with the verbal tongue murder battle, with that last spin, with the assassin. It was like you just chalked it all up. And as I was thinking about the progression of all of our characters and their stories, it's like it's so amazing to me that you've squeezed in so much juice into what is like a 2-week, 3-week span when most campaigns last years. You know, so just the craziness that's all progressed has been awesome. I've loved to see also just something with the cast is seeing how everyone's dynamic with each character has changed and how all of our roles as characters is very different. Like I have the mystery thing going on. I was gonna, when I originally wrote this note, I said wholesomeness with Riona, and I'm crossing that out rapidly. Bill has like this mix of I want to be a good lord, and he has the badass battle scenes. Lyneth gets the murder, and then Nymor gets like this bachelor prophecy seeking romantic Californication movie I want to watch. Anyways, this was amazing. I am so anxious, so nervous, so excited for the last episode. I'm Johnny Blams. You can follow me on Twitter where I say things that I do. Primarily, a lot of my content is Cowboy RP over at Wild RP, where you can find Susie as well. With the new year coming in and this show wrapping up and hopefully not my character's neck being wrapped up, I will be doing some more content. The project I'm starting called Becoming a Bard, which was actually kind of inspired from the show and this cast and these people. So if you want to find out more about that, follow me on Twitter. And yeah, I'm mind blown. I love the show because it makes me love Monday. So thank you guys. Also, big shout out to Lydia. She absolutely crushed her audio cues today, and like the woman behind the scenes never gets credits as much as she should. She does get credit, but not as much as she should. So big shout out to Lydia. Thank you guys so much for. Oh my gosh, this was awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Johnny. Hi, Shauna.
Hey. Oh,
Love you.
poor thing, but you know what? Someone else can be a cold motherfucker too. We'll see that next time. We'll see.
Ooh.
Riona. Someone else can be sweet and like stab someone in the back as well. We'll see. But look, this was great. Oh my god. Everything and like every scene was just so tense and it's like just starting off with the combat that. Ooh, I wasn't sure where that was gonna go, and the dreams and Lyneth's intrigues. It was God, thanks. This was great. God. But yeah, can't wait. I'm sad. It's the finale, but it's been every session has just been wonderful. But I am Shauna Flying Cirrus on Twitter and Instagram, everywhere else. We have art. I do art, and the games I play, including on Saturdays, it's on Level Up Dice. It's Science. It's a Scion game, Birth of New Gods, where we play a bunch of godlings who are being hunted, and we had a fight in a park. And on Wednesdays, it's gonna be a busy Wednesday because it's the finale of Embers in the Ashes. Our Blades in the Dark campaign is having a finale, and it's big things. And on before that at 3 p.m. Eastern, it's gonna be the first episode of Hexcrawl on Follow Black Cats. It's a spy game we're playing. It's gonna be 5 rules, and it is gonna be great. And my character has wronged somebody that he doesn't know of, so it should be interesting. And I can't wait to play with our wonderful GM Susie in that, and wonder if she's the one that I somehow betrayed.
I don't know. Sam rolled it randomly, so we'll find out who it was.
Hopefully, it's not the explosive person. That would be really bad.
That would be fun, though. But thank you so much, Shauna. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I'm so sorry once again for putting Riona through that pain. But hey, someone else who I put through pain today physically is Bill. Hi, Bill.
Hello. I am alive. At least I was until I blacked out. So that's longer than I'd expected with this, with the character and the build and the way he interacts with folks. So you know what? I think that's a win if he goes out in the snow. I feel like that's fitting. And yeah, that was a knockdown. That was a knockdown drag out situation. How does an assassin have more endurance than me? It's because I built him to be frail. And you know, min-maxing is a thing, but you got to learn the world, and this is my first foray into this world. So like, you know, something's got to give. But I had a blast. I loved watching Prax dismember someone with Worder. Riona and Shauna, or it's that moment was heartbreaking, but now you're the protagonist, right? Now you're the one that everyone is rooting for. And maybe somebody will get to Spartan kick this kid down a flight of stairs. Who knows what's going to happen? It's Game of Thrones. And then loved Susie and Johnny's scene, because Susie's voice that she used for like the ethereal Children of the Forest thing was like, is this a voiceover in a game? It's like, this is crazy. And then, yeah, Johnny, that's the world you're in now. So good luck. And Trooper, I always love Trooper. I'm in a lot of games with Trooper, and always fantastical. The best part about being in the game with Trooper is the stuff I feel like you do outside the game, because it's like almost just as much time as in game. You're talking about the stuff outside the game, which makes you as a player significantly more invested in the game. And it's a cast Trooper in your shows because it's the best experience. Cast all these people in their shows and pay them $1 million. If you like what I think, follow me at Bill of the Forest. The stuff I do is right now going on at LFM_network is Rise of the Veiled Alliance Journey to the Obsidian Spire, which is a super fun, intriguing Dark Sun 5th edition show. And that's it. That's all I got to say.
Thank you so much, Bill. And I promise we will see Brollan next week. What shape he'll be in, we do not know, but we will see him in the grand finale. Someone else who delivered a grand finale today, Prax. Holy shit, that intrigue was rad.
And through the entire thing, Lyneth never lied. At all. But yes, that was a lot of fun. Thanks for playing with me, Susie. It was great.
Yeah,
Why did a Blackwood think she could...
Sorry,
Why did
I
a
just
Blackwood think she could play with Tyrell?
a second to just shout out Jay. Thank you so much for that raid. Welcome on in. We will be paying forward this raid in just a moment, so please do bear with us. But please make sure to follow everybody on screen right now, because I love them all very dearly, and they just delivered a hell of a session. But yes, sorry, Prax. Why did a Blackwood think she could take on a Tyrell?
No, I'm not gonna lie. She doesn't lie. She doesn't feel bad about that at all. But no, it will be great. It'll be fine. I'm waiting for the inevitable fight where like Nymor, Brollan, and Brynden are all arguing on the side of a room. Like, we're going to kill him. How are we going to kill him? We need to do all of this. And Lyneth just kind of walks by and like wiping off a knife and like sets it down. You are taking too long. Let's move on.
Yeah.
That's just that moment. But I love all of these wonderful people. They did a fabulous job. I love the attention. I also love the fact that the Children of the Forest have a very obvious motive. And that motive is now becoming a problem. But I don't know that that motive is the same thing that the gods want. Because the gods are different than the Children of the Forest. So there's that. I loved watching Brollan survive the assassination attempt. That was good. Thanks. I appreciate that. Riona. Oh, I love playing with Shauna. Shauna is always wonderful. It's always great to watch. And I love that little moment of like Riona and Lyneth being like, this moment before is like, I don't want you to get upset because I want you to be really happy, but maybe be careful. Okay, you're okay for right now. We can figure this out in the future. But I can't wait to see what happens next week. I can't wait to see everything. Also, I will second having Trooper in your games. As for me, I'm at Deirdre Donlan on Twitter, or Proxgorth as me for you to see me around on Twitch. And speaking of Trooper in my games, on Saturday you can see Trooper in the finale of the regiment, where last week his main character was also unconscious. So instead he was his NPC character for most of it, and then promptly tried to intentionally make the audience think that she was plotting treason. It was great.
They started
and then
it.
you can find
me. Just fed it.
You did feed it. You fed it so well. And then on Friday, you can find me over on Wondering DM for some Cyberpunk Red. Fun times, particularly now that things are getting so interesting in that world. And other than that, check my Twitter because I post where I'm going to be, all the fun, wonderful things I get to do, all the fun, wonderful people like these fine folks here I get to hang out with, and possibly some things intriguingly in the future.
Thank you so much. And I cannot wait to see how the family and Lyneth just eviscerate people next week for our grand finale. And someone who has been dearly missed, Maester Naimal, played by Trooper.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to gush about the game, but I suppose I should say first, I'm Trooper SJP. Hey. You can find me at Trooper SJP on the Twitch or Academic Foxhole on the Twitter, but that's not what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about is how great this game was. How great a session was that? Like, when it was like a montage of epic moments of like, just like moment after moment. Like, like some shows will be like, oh, hey, here's a cliffhanger. No. See, the thing about Susie I have learned is that Susie does not go halfway. Susie is full on 80s nighttime soap goodness. She's not going to be like, oh no, what happened? She's no full on Moldavian massacre where everyone gets shot and you're not going to know who lives or who dies until the end until the next season. And then maybe also like, what is Bobby doing in the shower? Nobody knows. I'm just saying like, we're going to get like massive, like, Susie, my love goes to you for this session. You so phenomenal, so amazing. And the way that Brollan could die. Is Brollan dead? We don't know. Oh my gosh, but then they were lying. But oh no, the children of the forest. But oh no, but will Nymar wake up? What's gonna happen? And it's just like this moment, you're like, And if we were like on, I don't know, stage, movies, TV, I don't know, people would be tweeting about us. There'd be like billions of people tweeting us. There'd be hashtags, and then people would be mad because there were spoilers, because that's how awesome you are. And I just am so excited just to so good. That's all. I just love.
Thank you, Trooper. As for me, please don't yell at me on Twitter, but please feel free to yell in the Discord if you have any thoughts and feelings about tonight's game, which I absolutely enjoyed. I loved. I had been waiting for the moment to drop that Lord Manderley, Baby Manderley bombshell. I was gonna do it like an episode or two ago, and it didn't quite feel right. But today was like that was the good spot to drop it. He was only introduced due to a boon that was donated by a player, and then later on a bane that was donated by a cast member. So that is you, Chaos Chorus. You have done this to Riona. I'm off the hook. I'm clear and free. But thank you all so much for sticking around. I am Susie, otherwise known as Susanna Grace. I'm a variety streamer. I do video games, I do art streams, and I do tabletop RPGs. You can find me all over the internet at Susanna Grace. And from this point forward, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, you can find me on my channel, where I run around in the Wild West, causing trouble and driving buses with my alt character, shooting deputies and sheriffs on my other. And on Wednesdays, you can find me on Follow Black Cats for Hexcrawl, as Shauna said, which is our new spy game campaign. Speaking of, I'm part of the company that made the spy game, which is a 5e powered game of international espionage and action, and it is available for purchase right now on Drive-Thru RPG. So if that sounds up your alley, please do that and leave us a review. But we have kept you here for far too long. We're going to go raid our good friends at LFM. Thank you all so much for tuning in yet again, and we will see you next week for the grand finale. Bye, everybody.